What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and giving you our 2021 season preview, including record predictions. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, it's Mike here. Over 93% of you who view our show each and every day are not subscribed to the channel. If you could hit that red subscribe button, it would help us out tremendously, and it is completely free for you guys. If you want to stay up to date with our daily content, then click that bell icon and you will be notified every time we go live. Nick and I both really appreciate you subscribing to the channel, and we can't wait to keep making more daily content for you. All right, Nick, as we continue on with this series, we head over to the NFC South, and we are one division away from completing the entire National Football Conference. So, with that being said, we're going to start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go over some of their signings and additions, and this one's pretty short. They brought back everybody that was their own free agent, and they only brought in one notable free agent from another team, that being running back Giovanni Bernard. I mean, do you think this was a notable upgrade for them? I mean, besides the fact that they brought back all of their guys, which nobody really thought was possible, what is your biggest takeaway from their offseason?
I think that they had a perfect offseason. You couldn't have asked for anything more than they did, because most of the key talent that was available in free agency was from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So everybody that came back was very pivotal to their championship run, to that Super Bowl win. And if they're going to run it back, they need every single one of them. And everybody knowing the situation on that team, everybody willing to take pay cuts, that's exactly what a teammate is. That's exactly what you want from your players. And you know they're there for the right reasons. I think that this makes the Buccaneers an even bigger threat moving into the next season.
Yeah, for sure. And I take a look at, what is Tom Brady all about? Because this has Tom Brady's fingerprints all over it. I mean, this is the guy that from years on end did this in New England, and he got other players to buy into what he was doing. You take less money, you stay with the team, we have consistency, we have camaraderie, and we are just going to keep running this train back and back and back, and we're going to absolutely dominate the league, and that's what they're doing. They have a team that is destined for greatness, and they already know that because they were there last year, in their first year. Now they have the entire offseason. They had an entire year together to get to know each other. This is going to be a little different because Antonio Brown's starting the season with them. It's not 10 games in. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that are working in their favor that they didn't have last year, and they won the Super Bowl. So, I don't want to harp too much on it, but as of right now, there is no losses to be reported. Like I said, they brought everybody back. So, again, if you keep up with the series, we go through their signings/additions, we go through their losses. Nothing to report for the losses, so let's just jump right into the record predictions. All right, let's get started with week one, where we have the Dallas Cowboys coming into Tampa to take on the reigning Super Bowl champions. This is an interesting night because not many teams know how to play like this. It is a Thursday night game to open up the season. You are on prime time. You have the entire world watching you as you unveil your banner. There's so many pregame festivities. It's a little different than what most teams are used to. But Tom Brady knows how to deal with this. He's going to get everybody prepared. He's going to tell them exactly how it's going to go down and how they're going to stay focused, locked in, and ready to go. And I absolutely believe that the Buccaneers are going to come out firing on all cylinders. They're going to show us why they are the defending Super Bowl champions. And I expect them to take this one in a very high-scoring game with the Dallas Cowboys to open up the season.
Then moving into week two, the Atlanta Falcons, the Julio Jones-less Atlanta Falcons, make their way to Tampa Bay for the first time this season, and it's just not going to be their time. With the loss of Julio Jones, getting him out of there, you've got a young guy in Kyle Pitts that's still learning the offense. The running game is lackluster for Atlanta. The offense all around is going to work through some issues. It's going to be extremely tough to put up points against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have a pretty easy time in week two.
For sure. And then we move on to week 3, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go on to the road for the first time and have a very difficult matchup with a Los Angeles Rams team that is going to give them a big run for their money. The last time Tom Brady really had to struggle with the Rams was in the Super Bowl, where it was really a defensive battle. But that was then, and this is now. And now he has Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin and so on and so on and so on. I think things are a little different here. Jalen Ramsey's all amped up already because they didn't get Julio Jones. Aaron Donald is coming in strong. I believe that the Buccaneers are going to take this one in a very close game.
And then moving all the way across the country from LA back to New England, back to Tom Brady's battleground for 20 years. He finally gets to face Bill Belichick in the game of our lifetime, the game of the century. This is the game we've all been looking forward to. But for the New England Patriots, as much as I hate to do this, the Buccaneers are just too strong. The Patriots have made incredible moves this offseason, but the Buccaneers have the chemistry. The Patriots are going to be working through some issues in week 4. I think that Bill Belichick can get this team ready for Tom Brady, but they're just not good enough. Tom Brady and this Buccaneers team are just superior on both ends of the ball, and they'll get the job done in week 4 in New England.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge game. Obviously, Tom Brady coming back to New England. It's going to be one hell of a game, and prime time no less. So everything's going to be firing on all cylinders for both teams. But then in week 5, the Miami Dolphins get to see a player that they've seen for the last 20 years in Tom Brady. So, a familiar opponent for them nonetheless. And I do believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to handle business with the Dolphins coming to town. It's their cross-state rivals in the Miami Dolphins, and they're both used to the hot weather down in Florida. It's coming across during hurricane season, so could be a lot of rain, but either way, I believe the Buccaneers will handle their business in week 5.
Then in week 6, the Buccaneers make their way to Philadelphia, where Tom Brady gets to face the team that beat him in Super Bowl 52, and he still got that on his mind. It doesn't matter if it's a different team. He's still out there to prove everybody wrong, to prove that he can beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is no matchup for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. They're going to have an easy time in week 6.
All right, in week 7, with the Buccaneers at 6-0, we have the Buccaneers hosting the Chicago Bears. And at this point, Chicago's got a lot of things going on for them. Do they have a QB change? Is Justin Fields taking over? What's that offense look like? What's that defense look like? There's been so many things that have happened with the Chicago Bears team. They are not the perennial playoff team that we have come to know and love. So I believe that the Buccaneers are going to have a very easy time come week 7.
Then moving into week 8, the Buccaneers make their way to New Orleans to face the Saints for the first time this season. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. Although Drew Brees is not there, there's still Michael Thomas, there's still Alvin Kamara. You've got Cameron Jordan on the other side and Marshawn Lattimore, who is Mike Evans' arch nemesis, Mike Evans' kryptonite. That's always the best matchup to see every single year. Buccaneers versus Saints is always going to be a good matchup no matter what, and the Saints are really going to put the pressure on the Buccaneers, but to me, the Buccaneers are just too good. Jameis Winston facing his old team, they know what he's all about. Bruce Arians is going to know exactly how to scheme up against him. To me, the Buccaneers will get the job done in week 8.
All right, so 8-0 going into the bye week. You can't draw it up any better for Tom Brady, and it has a smell of perfection looming, something that Tom Brady has alluded to all offseason, that he wishes that he could have finished off the perfection season back in 2007. And it seems right now, going into week 10 against the Washington football team, he's going to have a chance to do that again. As the visiting team going into Washington, another strong game, another strong opponent. Washington has incredible wide receivers. Their defense is incredibly strong. This is going to be a very tough matchup for the Buccaneers, but I believe that they're going to be able to eke it out. Coming out of the bye week, they have a week to get healthy, another week to prepare. I mean, there's not a Tom Brady-led team that's willing to lose after a bye week, and I fully expect that they're going to come firing on all cylinders.
Then moving into week 11, they have another tough matchup with the New York Giants making their way to Tampa Bay. Joe Judge, the former special teams coordinator of the New England Patriots, knows all too well what Tom Brady's all about, knows him through and through. And This is going to be a tough matchup for both teams. To me, the Giants have one of the best offenses in the NFL. And if Saquon Barkley is able to make it all the way to week 11, it's going to be an extra dynamic piece that they haven't had in recent years this late in the season, which is going to be interesting to see how the Buccaneers are able to handle such a strong running back and such a strong passing attack. It really comes down to defenses, and when you look at it on paper, the Buccaneers are a better team. They have a much better pass rush. I think that the Giants offensive line is a little weak, and they're going to get to Daniel Jones quite a bit. The Buccaneers will get the job done in week 11.
All right, sitting at 10-0, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go in to visit the Indianapolis Colts, and this is quite an interesting game because I believe that the Indianapolis Colts have a lot of key pieces that have come back and really helped them out, but I do believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will handle their business. They are going to win in week 12, and they're going to dominate Carson Wentz and the Colts.
Then in week 13, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers make their way to Atlanta this time. And again, this is still a struggle for the Atlanta Falcons. They may have Kyle Pitts, who's fully ingrained into this offense, and Calvin Ridley, who's fully taken over that number 1 spot. But this Atlanta defense is still a little young. They have a lot to work through. I just don't think that they have enough to stop Tom Brady and this offensive attack. The Buccaneers, again, win in week 13.
Then week 14, the Buffalo Bills come to Tampa Bay, and this is one of those trap games that I'm going to talk about because the Buffalo Bills are a very strong team, and people are not giving them credit for what they did last year. A lot of people think that it might have been a fluke, that Josh Allen is going to have some sort of regression because it's just been progress throughout his career. I don't believe that. I believe that he is going to progress and continue to grow. I think we saw a budding superstar in Josh Allen last year, and he's only going to grow with players like Stephon Diggs and the running attack that they have now in Buffalo. Look for the Buffalo Bills to actually upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 14. I believe that the Bills have what it takes to beat this team.
That is quite the surprise, especially when you take into consideration how much Tom Brady loathes the Buffalo Bills. That's one of the teams he hates the most, and it'd be interesting to see the Bills upset him in his new home. But then in week 15, the New Orleans Saints make their way to Tampa Bay, and they face off for the second time. Jameis Winston makes his way back as a starter for the New Orleans Saints in his old home, and this is another strong game for the New Orleans Saints. Divisional matchups are always tough, and when the Saints are facing the Bucs, they usually have the upper hand. They lost the first game, but that's because the New Orleans Saints are working through a lot of changes, and it's a lot early on in the season. I'm really looking towards the Saints in this one. I think that the Saints have what it takes to pull off the upset. To me, that the Buccaneers have a ton of weapons, but these games just play differently, and I just think that the Saints will end up splitting the series with them in the end.
It's crazy to think that this is where we've gotten, but nonetheless, here we are. And after going 12-0, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had a 2-game skid, and it's actually not going to stop here. I believe that the Carolina Panthers are going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their first meeting in 3 weeks. I believe that the Panthers have retooled this entire team. They have gotten this team to become a actual playoff contender, and they're going to showcase their talents. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go through some struggles. They had an interesting bye week, earlier, but now they're on a downward spiral. They don't have really time to stop and kind of catch their breath a little bit. Look for the Panthers to capitalize on a reeling Bucs team here, and they're going to end up 12-3 right now.
This is actually showing shades of the Pittsburgh Steelers from last season, where they started off undefeated and then lost a lot of games towards the end. But in week 17, they're facing the New York Jets, and this is exactly where the buck stops. This is exactly where they turn things around. The New York Jets are an easy target. They're an easy team to get through, and Tom Brady loves taking advantage of the New York Jets whenever he gets the chance to. He's going to want to prove a point, especially against a rookie quarterback. Zach Wilson's going to have a tough day. The Buccaneers will take week 17.
And then sitting at 13-13, they are vying for that number 1 seed in the NFC with the Arizona Cardinals based on our predictions, and they have to win week 18. I mean, they absolutely have to. On top of that, they're in for retribution. The Panthers beat them 2 weeks prior. They are in to beat the Panthers and showcase why they are the best team in the NFC South. So I look for the Buccaneers to put an absolute onslaught on the Carolina Panthers at home to finish out the season, lock up that number 1 seed, get that first round bye in the playoffs, and then be able to move on from there.
I mean, overall, 14-3 is an amazing season. Honestly, that's the best season we've had so far for any team. That is really going to be as good as it gets for any team in the NFL. And the Buccaneers are really the team to beat, not only being the champs, but when you look at this team, they're a Pro Bowl team on both sides of the ball. When you look at this offense, you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, with the backfield of Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, with the addition of Giovanni Bernard, and then the tight ends. There's so much going on in offense. And then when you take a look on defense, Shaq Barrett and JPP are still there. You've got Levante David and Devin White. And the backfield, they had some young corners last year, but Todd Bowles proved that they can be really solid man coverage players. They can really become stronger, and they did that throughout the season. I think that they can continue that, and that's what's going to make them really lethal this season. Their secondary is getting a lot stronger. They may not be household names, but they're going to be soon.
Yeah, and don't forget about the addition of Joe Tryon as a defensive end where they can rotate pieces out. And don't forget about the addition of tight end O.J. Howard, who had a season-ending injury last year, who was their tight end number 1, and then Rob Gronkowski, who is a tight end 1 himself, came in as the backup, but essentially you were missing your number 1 tight end last year. You get him back, and you're making this offense even more potent, even stronger than ever. And I take a look at this team, there is no weak links at all. If you had to point to one possibility for a weak link, maybe the cornerbacks, maybe. But you just described why they aren't weak. In fact, they are very strong and one of the stronger units in the league. The problem is this Buccaneers team has no weaknesses. This is all, again, assuming great health, and we wish nothing but great health on every single team this year. But when you take a look at this Buccaneers team, it'll be very, very difficult to beat them. And we see them going 14-3. It's just that simple. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.